The days following Adunni's death were filled with an oppressive silence. The once lively Olumide household was now enveloped in an atmosphere of grief and despair. Mama Adebayo did her best to maintain a semblance of normalcy for Temi's sake, but the sorrow in her eyes was unmistakable. Temi, who had always been full of energy and curiosity, now moved through the days like a shadow of her former self. Baba Olumide was the most changed. The loss of his daughter weighed heavily on his heart, and he was consumed by a sense of failure. His promise at Adunni's graveside to lift his family out of poverty had become an obsession. He could not bear the thought of losing another family member to the cruel hands of fate and poverty. Every evening, Baba Olumide would sit alone in their small courtyard, staring at the sky as if seeking answers from the heavens. His mind raced with thoughts of how he could amass wealth quickly to protect his remaining family. The community's condolences and sympathetic gestures did little to ease his pain or alleviate his growing desperation. One night, unable to sleep, Baba Olumide wandered through the darkened streets of ODI. The city was silent, save for the occasional bark of a dog or the distant hum of insects. His steps led him to the edge of the forest, a place often whispered about in hushed tones. It was said that deep within the forest lived a powerful native doctor, a man with the ability to grant any wish, for a price. Driven by a mixture of desperation and curiosity, Baba Olumide ventured into the forest. The thick canopy of trees overhead blocked out the moonlight, and the air was filled with the sounds of nocturnal creatures. He pressed on, guided only by the faint glow of fireflies and the resolve in his heart. After what seemed like an eternity, Baba Olumide reached a small clearing. In the center stood a hut, dimly lit from within. Smoke curled from a chimney, and the scent of burning herbs filled the air. Taking a deep breath, Baba Olumide approached the hut and knocked on the door. The door creaked open to reveal an elderly man with piercing eyes and a presence that seemed to fill the room. This was Baba Aje, the infamous native doctor. His long, white beard and traditional robes gave him an otherworldly appearance. "Enter," Baba Aje said in a voice that was both commanding and soothing. Baba Olumide stepped inside, his heart pounding. The interior of the hut was cluttered with jars of strange substances, animal bones, and talismans. A low fire burned in the hearth, casting flickering shadows on the walls.
"What brings you to my abode at this hour?"
Baba Aje's gaze did not waver. "Anything, you say?" "Yes, anything," Baba Olumide affirmed, desperation lacing his words. The native doctor nodded slowly and motioned for Baba Olumide to sit. "Wealth comes at a price," he said. "Are you prepared to pay it?" "I am," Baba Olumide replied without hesitation. Baba Aje rose and retrieved a small vial filled with a dark liquid. He handed it to Baba Olumide. "Drink this, and you will be granted wealth beyond your wildest dreams. But know this, every gift comes with a sacrifice. The greater the gift, the greater the sacrifice." Without a second thought, Baba Olumide uncorked the vial and drank its contents. The liquid burned as it went down, and he felt a sudden dizziness. The room seemed to spin, and his vision blurred. When he awoke, Baba Olumide found himself back in his courtyard. The first light of dawn was breaking, and he could hear the sounds of the city waking up. He felt a strange sense of clarity and a new determination coursing through his veins. In the following weeks, Baba Olumide's fortunes began to change. He stumbled upon opportunities that seemed too good to be true, and his business ventures flourished. Money flowed in, and the Olumide family began to rise from the depths of poverty. Their once modest home was transformed into a place of comfort and abundance. Temi, though still mourning the loss of her sister, found solace in the improved circumstances. She returned to school, and Mama Adebayo's health seemed to improve as well. The family's renewed prosperity brought a sense of hope, but it was tinged with a lingering sadness for Adunni's absence. Despite their newfound wealth, Baba Olumide was plagued by a sense of unease. He could not shake the feeling that his prosperity had come at a terrible cost. He was haunted by dreams of Adunni, her eyes filled with accusation and sorrow. One evening, as the family gathered for dinner, there was a sudden knock at the door. Baba Olumide opened it to find Baba Aje standing there, his expression grave. "The time has come to fulfill your end of the bargain," the native doctor said. Baba Olumide's heart sank. "What must I do?" Baba Aje's eyes were cold and unforgiving. "Your wife has already paid the price. Now, it is time for your daughter." Baba Olumide's blood ran cold. "No, please. Not my daughter." "You agreed to do anything," Baba Aje reminded him. "The choice is simple, either she dies, or you do." Torn between his love for Temi and the fear of death, Baba Olumide found himself trapped. Days turned into nights, and the decision weighed heavily on him. Whenever he tried to harm Temi, the spirit of Adunni would appear, her presence a protective shield around her sister. Baba Olumide was driven to the brink of madness. His wealth, once a source of pride, now felt like a curse. The family's bond, though strained, remained strong, and the love they shared became their greatest defense against the darkness that threatened to consume them. In a moment of clarity, Baba Olumide realized that true wealth was not measured by material possessions but by the strength of their family bond. He knew he had to find a way to break the cycle of sacrifice and protect his daughter from the fate that had befallen his wife. As the sun set on another day, Baba Olumide made a vow to seek redemption and restore the balance that had been shattered by his desperate choices. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but he was determined to save his family and honor the memory of Adunni. The story of the Olumide family was far from over, and the trials they faced would test their courage, faith, and love. But through it all, they would learn that true wealth lay not in riches, but in the unbreakable bond they shared.